Hi, I'm Brian, Service Manager at Whole Latte Love, and today I'm going to show you how to adjust the brew pressure on your Rocket Appartamento.
All right, let's get into that.
All right. Now, the OPV on this machine is located in the back on the bottom down here, so it's below the reservoir insert. You can take all the housing off if you want to. You don't necessarily need to. All you have to do is remove the two screws here and the two screws in the bottom down there. We have a video on support, wholelatelove.com. They'll show you how to do that. This whole part will just slide right out, and then you have access straight from the top.
And it's that front.
Yep, it's this front bolt right here. It's a 12 millimeter bolt that screws in the adjustment, or out, whichever way you're going. So I will note that a couple things. First of all, obviously the Appartamento does not have a brew gauge on it. So if you're going to do this, you're either guessing or you're going to need some sort of group gauge on there.
Which we have here.
Something there or something on a portafilter like what we have here. So that's the first thing that you're going to need. Second thing is the way that this is set up. If you have the housing on still, you're going to have to make incremental adjustments, meaning you'll have to take the reservoir out of the way, make some adjustments, put the reservoir back on, and then test again. So unless you have all the housing off, then you don't need to worry as much about that. If you have all the housing off the way that we have it right now, all you gotta do is take your reservoir, put it back in like that, sitting on the two posts that the reservoir holder would normally hold it on, so it's fine like that.
Okay.
Not for extended times, but it's fine like that for now. Keep in mind, power off when we're fiddling around in there. So I got the power back on now. Like I said, if you have the housing on still, then what you're gonna wanna do is preferably do this when the machine has been off for a while, so that not everything in here is all extremely hot. That's not gonna affect the pressure. So I would suggest that. So what we're gonna do first is get a base reading of what our pressure is right now. So I'm just gonna lift the lever, and then check out where our gauge is going. Got 12 bar.
Which is pretty much what Rocket ships these at.
Yes, yep. So usually, this is a question that we get asked fairly frequently, so I'll just address it real quick.
Sure.
Everyone wants to know, well, why are they putting it up at 12 bar? During research and development, they find what pressures result in the best flow rate through the machine. So that's just what they have it set for from their research as to what makes the machine operate the best in and of itself. So that doesn't mean you can't make adjustments on it, but if you're gonna go somewhere really far out, like drop it down to 6 bar or something like that, and you notice the machine's just like not acting quite right, takes forever to fill, things like that, that's a result of that change that you made. So if you start having any kind of issues, put it back to the factory setting, and this is true to say with any adjustment that you make in a machine. If you start noticing negative side effects, set it back to stock and make sure that that's not what was causing the issue. So.
Okay.
But that's my blurb.
Okay, thanks for that.
No problem. So what we're gonna do next is make some adjustments. I'm also gonna give the disclaimer. All right, so we have one of two directions we can go with this. I'm trying not to get in your way here, so don't mind me. If we go in, which is going to be clockwise, that is going to be increasing your pressure. We're up at 12 bar, we probably don't want to do that right now. Note that the elbow coming off here is attached to some other stuff. Hold that elbow when you're making your adjustments, that way you're not twisting your tubes and risking breaking any of your T's or anything.
So these turns, you should be lowering the pressure.
I am lowering the pressure right now, and you should hear the pump sound kind of change a little bit. The lower pressure you go with this, the more noise it's going to start making. Now, when you're doing this, I've done it a bunch of times, so I know that it takes quite a few turns to make an adjustment on here, but that just draws that just below 10 there. So it only made us go down about 2 bar pressure. The most important thing I want to note is that when you look at this OPV, I'm just gonna shut that off so I don't overheat the pump. There's no safety on here that's gonna stop this from coming out farther. The absolute lowest I would recommend going, and I don't know why you would go below it anyways, is 6 bar. Any lower than 6 bar, you run the risk of this whole part just going popping right out on you.
There's like a spring behind there and some pressure.
Yep, a little pressure from the water, a little pressure from a spring. So any lower than 6, I haven't done the test yet, so I don't know exactly how far it can get, but it's pretty far out there at 6 bar. So I don't really recommend going any further than that, especially if you're working on, you got your power cord right here, you got your board right there, you're just asking for a disaster. So just be careful about how far you go out with it.
And of course, while you're doing this, the machine's on, there's power in there. So if you're not comfortable doing that, then don't do it.
Yes, definitely. Because you can make these adjustments with all the power off. It's just, you're just going to have to keep going back and forth, turning it on, running your test, and blah, 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 blah. So.
All right. All right, Brian, thanks for taking us through adjusting the pressure on the Appartamento.
Not a problem.